Chosen one, pause. Something in your spirit tightened the moment you read the words, "God said move." That wasn't fear, that was recognition. You've been feeling this holy pressure for weeks, maybe months. The walls of your life have grown too small. The air around you has felt heavy, crowded, stale. And deep inside, a whisper you tried to ignore kept returning. You can't stay here anymore. Listen to me. Heaven has been shifting things behind the scenes with a precision your mind has not yet caught up to. Doors that once opened easily have started resisting you. People who once felt familiar now feel distant. Even the places where you used to find comfort have begun to feel uncomfortable, almost foreign. This is not decline. This is divine disruption. God is breaking the shell because the season that held you is expiring. You've been waking up with that unexplained restlessness. You've been staring at your ceiling at night, feeling the tug of something you can't name. You've been sensing that where you are is too small for who you're becoming. Does that sound familiar? Beloved soul, hear me. This is not confusion. This is destiny alignment. The Holy Spirit has been nudging you, urging you, preparing you, not because you failed, but because you outgrew the environment you've been surviving in. You are entering a breakthrough season where the old foundations cannot hold the weight of your next elevation. And God is not asking anymore. He is instructing. Pack your bag. It's time to go. Isaiah 43:19 declares, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? You've perceived it. That's why your peace left certain places. That's why your spirit flinched around certain people. That's why you've been craving emotional healing, financial stability, clarity, abundance, and purpose all at once. It's the signal of a spiritual awakening calling you forward. Stay with me until the end. There is a revelation waiting for you that will confirm everything you've been sensing in silence." And before we continue, if this word is already stirring something in your chest, make sure you subscribe, not for hype, but because your journey is shifting and you need a voice that walks with you as God relocates your life into promise. Because you can feel it. Chosen one, the ground beneath your life has been shifting, and you've been trying to pretend it's just stress or exhaustion, but deep in your chest, you know something sacred is forcing its way to the surface. You didn't ask for this stirring. You didn't ask for this holy restlessness. But it arrived anyway, like a quiet knocking on the door of your spirit that refuses to go unanswered. You've been carrying a weight no one knows about. Not your family, not your friends. The kind of weight that settles in your bones at night when the world grows silent and your thoughts get loud. There are moments when you lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering why the life you built suddenly feels too tight, too dim, too drained of meaning. You wonder why the job that once kept you stable now feels like confinement, why conversations that used to feel warm now feel hollow, why rooms that once gave you peace now feel like spiritual warfare pressing against your ribs. You've been trying to convince yourself that you're simply tired, but this isn't fatigue. It is divine pressure. It is heaven pulling you out of a place you no longer fit in. And there's something else you haven't told anyone. You've felt watched, not by people, but by circumstances, by patterns that repeat, by sudden obstacles that don't make logical sense, financial blockage that appears right when momentum begins to build, unexpected delays that show up the moment you try to move forward, opportunities that seem promising right up until the last second, only to collapse without explanation. You've wondered, is something working against me? You're not imagining it. There has been resistance. Not because you're cursed, but because your next chapter is too powerful for the enemy to leave unchallenged. Destiny delay is real. And the closer you get to breakthrough timing, the more violent the spiritual turbulence becomes. Look at your own life. Every time you get ready to step forward, something shakes. Every time you reclaim your confidence, someone drains it. Every time you try to save money, an unexpected expense wipes it out. Every time you prepare to leave, something or someone pulls you back just enough to keep you still. Does that sound familiar? And yet, beneath all that chaos, there's another whisper. Move. A word that scares you because you don't feel ready. Because you're tired of starting over. Because you've carried too many endings already. You've packed your bags in your mind 100 times but never made it to the door. You've dreamed of a fresh start, a new environment, a place where your spirit can breathe again. But fear keeps asking, what if you fail? This fear has been your shadow. It stands behind you when you try to plan. It whispers when you try to hope. It tightens around your throat every time you imagine leaving the familiar. But the truth you haven't said out loud is this. The familiar has been wounding you. The familiar has been draining you. The familiar has been shrinking you into a version of yourself that no longer matches the calling God placed on your life. You're not just uncomfortable. You're outgrowing a chapter that cannot hold who you're becoming. And that tension you feel is the proof. There are days when you look at your surroundings and feel like a stranger in your own life. Days when you stay quiet because you feel misunderstood. Days when you force yourself to smile while your soul whispers, "This is not my home anymore." You've kept this secret. The yearning for movement, the aching for freedom, the craving for a space where your spirit isn't suffocating. But you're afraid that if you move, you'll lose what little stability you have. You're afraid you'll disappoint someone. You're afraid you'll step out and find nothing waiting for you. And yet, the pain of staying has grown heavier than the fear of leaving. This is the hidden struggle no one sees. The war between who you were and who God is calling you to become. The spiritual warfare that rises every time your destiny tries to advance. The quiet tears you've cried in the bathroom so no one would hear. The moments when you look at your own reflection and whisper, "Lord, I don't know what to do anymore." But heaven knows. Heaven has seen every moment your heart clenched without reason. Every time your spirit whispered, "I can't stay here." Every time the air around you felt like a cage instead of a covering. And the truth is unfolding now. You are not being pushed out because you failed. You are being summoned out because you have completed the assignment of this place. And what once protected you is now limiting you. Your environment has expired. Your connections have expired. Your old identity has expired. And the pressure you feel is the spiritual contraction of divine reversal, preparing to deliver you into a chapter you prayed for but never imagined would come this fast. But before heaven moves you, before God shifts the ground beneath your feet, you must understand why everything around you has felt so heavy, so strange, so unstable lately. Because what's been fighting you has not been random. And the reason you've been delayed, drained, and spiritually cornered is deeper than you think. There is something ancient, something sacred, something written over your life that the adversary recognized long before you did. And that is why the resistance intensified. Because the moment you sensed the call to move, something in the unseen realm reacted. And now, the real battle is rising, the one you've been feeling without having words for it, the one that has been tightening around you like invisible hands every time you try to step forward, the one that began the moment heaven whispered into your spirit that it was time to move. That was the moment everything around you started to feel like it was turning against you. Not because God was punishing you, but because the place you were standing could no longer contain what He put inside you. And when a chosen one stays too long in an expired season, the environment itself starts to push them out. You've seen it, you've felt it, Suddenly, the home that once felt safe became tense. Small arguments turning into full conflicts over nothing, neighbors growing colder, family members picking at you for every little thing. The atmosphere thickening whenever you walk into certain rooms, like the air itself is rejecting your presence. Your city started to feel too small, too loud, too spiritually heavy. You walk streets you've known for years and feel a strange distance, like you're visiting a place you no longer belong to. You notice things you never noticed before. The spiritual dryness, the cycles of gossip, the hopeless conversations. And something in you whispers, if I stay here, something in me will die. At work, it got worse. The workplace that once felt like provision now feels like a prison. You drag your feet to the door every morning. You sit in your car for 5 extra minutes just to gather the strength to go inside. Your body goes, but your spirit stays behind. You do the work. You do it well. You carry excellence and integrity, but instead of reward, you meet resistance. Supervisors overlook you on purpose. Jealous co-workers twist your words, turn your kindness into a threat. You see others, less faithful, less skilled, promoted ahead of you while you carry the heavy loads in silence. It feels unfair. It feels targeted. You ask, God, why are you letting them walk over me? Listen to me. This is not random cruelty. This is environmental ejection. When God has decided it is breakthrough timing for your destiny alignment, He will not let you stay comfortable in a place that no longer serves your divine purpose. And sometimes, the only way to get you moving is to let the environment become so unbearable that even your fear cannot hold you in place. So the spiritual warfare intensifies. The misunderstandings multiply. The spiritual heaviness in that job, that city, that house, sits on your chest like a weight. You come home exhausted, not just in your body, but in your soul. You sit on the edge of your bed and feel that quiet shaking inside. Your hands run over your face, your eyes burn. You whisper, Lord, is this really it? Is this all my life is going to be? Deep down, you already know the answer. It's no. This is not your final destination. But another voice rises, the one that asks, where would you go? How would you survive? What about the bills, the children, the responsibilities? And you feel torn between the holy pull to move and the human fear of falling. Right here, beloved, I want you to do something. If this is hitting the places you've never put into words, if you feel your spirit nodding even while your mind is confused, go to the comments and write this simple declaration: I move with God, not as a trend, not as empty words. Write it as a spiritual contract. Write it as your way of saying, I refuse to stay chained to an environment God is trying to deliver me from. Because when you put that agreement in writing, you are telling every generational curse, every financial blockage, every delaying spirit, that your life is now aligned with divine intervention and not with fear. And yet, even with that whisper of courage, even with that inner knowing that you are meant for more, something else keeps tightening its grip on you, because the environment pushing you out is only half the battle. The other half is the invisible chain that locks your feet at the very edge of the door. You know this feeling well. It is that strange paralysis that hits you when you're finally about to make a move. You sit with your browser open, job applications pulled up, and you just stare. You draft the message to resign, and then save it in drafts. You put items in a bag, imagining a new city, a new start, then slowly unpack them as if nothing happened. Your heart says, go. Your legs say, not yet. This is threshold paralysis. The war at the doorway. You've dreamed of leaving. You have whole scenarios built in your mind. The new place, the new rhythm, the peace. You've even checked apartments, searched cities, imagined waking up somewhere that doesn't feel like a graveyard for your spirit. But when it comes time to act, your body freezes, your chest tightens, your palms sweat. Your mind races with every worst-case scenario it can invent. What if I can't find a job? What if I end up alone? What if I move and it gets worse? What if I heard wrong and God didn't actually say, move? The enemy loves this doorway. He doesn't mind you dreaming as long as you never step. So he surrounds the threshold with memories of failure, trauma from past attempts, moments when you moved before and it ended badly. He brings back the time you trusted the wrong person and lost everything. The time you invested in a business and it fell apart. The time you packed your bags in excitement and returned in disappointment. He whispers, remember that. It'll happen again. And suddenly, the doorway feels like a cliff. You start questioning your own discernment. You replay every prophetic word you ever heard. You wonder if you made all of it up because you were desperate for change. On the outside, you look functional. You go to work. You talk to people. You smile at gatherings. But inside, your soul is pacing in circles. You feel like a traveler who lives permanently at the airport gate, suitcase packed, ticket in hand, never boarding the plane. This is more than fear. It's a mindset prison. Your wealth mindset, your belief in abundance, your expectation of divine reversal, all of it has been tied to old experiences that told you, you don't get to win, you get close, then lose. So every time you stand at a new doorway, the past steps in front of the future and says, stop here. You scroll through testimonies of others who moved, others who started over and found joy, others who broke out and walked into generational wealth and destiny alignment, and you feel two things at once, hope and shame. Hope that it could be you, shame that it isn't yet. There are nights when you sit alone, the house quiet, and you can literally feel your spirit leaning forward, like someone standing with one foot outside the door and one foot still inside. You can almost hear a different future calling your name, but it feels far away, blurry, unreachable. You tell yourself, when the money is better, I'll move. When I feel stronger, I'll move. When the timing is perfect, I'll move. But beloved, that perfect moment keeps drifting just beyond your grasp. And what you don't see yet is that this paralysis at the threshold is not just fear. It is part of the same spiritual warfare that's been trying to keep you bound to an old chapter, the same invisible hands that tighten every time you prepare to step into what God already wrote for you, the same unseen resistance that started the moment heaven whispered it was time to move, and that single whisper stirred the oldest ache inside you, the one you've never been able to speak without your voice cracking, because the moment heaven called you forward, something else woke up too, something you've carried since childhood. You've always felt like the black sheep in your own family, not rebellious, not broken, just different. Even as a child, you sensed things no one else noticed. You asked questions that made adults uncomfortable. You felt truth before you could explain it. And instead of being understood, you were labeled too sensitive, too dramatic, too spiritual, too rebellious. Your tone was wrong. Your ideas were too much. Your dreams were unrealistic. And over the years, this quiet rejection didn't just sting, it carved a hollow place inside you. You learned to hold your tongue at family gatherings because your insights were mocked. You learned to shrink your personality because it made others feel exposed. You learned to dim your intelligence because it intimidated people. You became the peacekeeper, the outsider, the misunderstood one sitting on the edge of the room wondering why the people closest to you felt furthest from your soul. They took your sensitivity for weakness. They mistook your intuition for attitude. They saw your calling as confusion. And the worst part? They only seem to get loud when you start to grow. When you try to heal. When you attempt to move forward. Every time you take a step toward destiny alignment, someone from your own circle tugs at your ankle with old accusations, old doubts, old roles they want to glue you back into. It's not that they hate you. It's that your transformation threatens the version of you they're comfortable with. But it has left you feeling painfully isolated, like you could be sitting at the family table surrounded by laughter while your spirit whispers, "I do not belong here." Like home was never home. Like love required you to abandon yourself to keep the peace. And this pain grew so quietly, so consistently, that you now question whether you deserve the life God is trying to move you into. If this part of the message touches something tender in you, pause and comment these words, "I break free." Let it be a declaration to every generational curse that told you you had to stay small to be accepted. Because this isolation isn't random, it was training. It was preparation for the depth of discernment God placed inside you. And that discernment, it became both your greatest gift and your heaviest burden. Because as you grew older, you didn't just sense atmospheres, you started sensing motives. Which leads us into the second shadow you've been carrying, the burden of discernment. You see through people too clearly. You hear what they're not saying. You feel the shift in someone's energy before their face even changes. You can tell when someone smiles while hiding resentment, when someone applauds while secretly competing, when someone congratulates you while envying every blessing on your life. And you've learned painfully that you can't unsee what God shows you. But here's the part no one talks about. You're not allowed to confront most of what you discern. You see the lie forming behind someone's eyes, but you swallow your truth. You sense betrayal months before it happens, but you hold your tongue so you don't seem paranoid. You pick up on spiritual warfare in someone's tone, but you sit quietly so they don't accuse you of being too deep. You carry revelation with no permission to reveal it. It creates an ache in your chest, a tightness in your throat, a loneliness in the center of your spirit. Because who can you talk to about this? Who would believe you? Who wouldn't call you crazy, dramatic, or overly spiritual? You've lost relationships because you sensed danger early. You've been judged for cutting ties people couldn't understand. You've been misunderstood for protecting your peace in ways others misinterpreted. And sometimes you wish deeply, secretly, that you didn't see so much, that you didn't feel so much, that you weren't so spiritually alert that every room feels like a battlefield and every person feels like an assignment. Discernment is a gift, yes, but it is also a weight that sits between your shoulder blades, like a silent backpack filled with truths you can't speak aloud. And it gets heavier when you feel a lie forming in someone you love. It gets heavier when you sense manipulation dressed as kindness. It gets heavier when your spirit says danger, but your mind says be polite. And yet, this burden isn't random either, because heaven has been sharpening your senses for the move ahead. Your next chapter will require a level of spiritual perception you didn't need before. Your next territory contains both blessings and hidden traps. Your destiny requires you to see what others overlook. But the combination of these two themes, the isolation from family and the weight of discernment, has created a storm inside you that no one else sees. A storm that has made you doubt your own worth, your own sanity, your own readiness for the place God is calling you to. And this storm has only intensified recently, because the closer you come to your breakthrough timing, the more the unseen realm reacts. You've felt the pressure. You've felt the spiritual interference. You've felt your emotions rising without reason, your energy draining suddenly, your intuition screaming louder. your dreams shifting into something prophetic and urgent, because the enemy knows. If you ever stop doubting yourself, if you ever embrace who you truly are, if you ever step out of this old chapter and into the place heaven prepared, everything changes. And that is why, right now, even as you listen, something in your soul is trembling, not from fear, but from recognition that the next revelation I am about to expose is tied to the very chain that has kept you from moving, the chain that tightened the moment you tried to move. Because that was the moment hell realized you were getting too close to the life God wrote for you. And suddenly, every strange attack, every delay, every heartbreak began to make sense, not as punishment, but as preparation. Chosen one, look at the pattern again with fresh eyes. The loneliness, the financial blockage, the sudden betrayals, the suffocating exhaustion, the constant spiritual warfare pressing against your chest at night. None of it was random. Not a single tear, not a single setback, not a single closed door. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was training you, because the level of elevation, abundance, generational wealth, and destiny alignment God is about to release over your life requires a stronger version of you than the one who began this journey. You were not being broken. You were being built, forged, tempered, strengthened in the fire for a future soaked in glory. You wondered why the attacks were so personal, why the warfare targeted your heart, your finances, your confidence, your relationships, why the enemy tried to bury your voice, drain your hope, confuse your path. It's because he saw something you didn't see yet. The magnitude of what was coming, the breakthrough timing written over your name, the divine reversal scheduled on heaven's calendar. You were never being punished. You were being prepared for ownership, authority, wealth, influence, a life so expanded that the old you could not have carried it. And every delay that made you question God was actually God protecting you. Every closed door that felt like rejection was divine intervention rerouting you. Every betrayal that shattered you was heaven removing hands that could not follow where you are going next. Hear me. You survived battles that would have crushed others. You carried burdens that would have ended weaker souls. You fought demons your family never had the courage to confront. And after everything hell threw at you, you're still here. Still breathing, still listening, still standing, still chosen. This is why the pressure has been unbearable lately. This is why the shaking intensified. This is why your spirit has been screaming, move, because God is not preparing you to return to what wounded you. He is preparing you to walk into what will restore you. And if you can feel this word stirring something fierce inside you, if you sense that God is finally aligning the path for divine elevation, then pause and tap subscribe and like right now as your prophetic agreement. Not for me, for you. Do it as a declaration that you believe God is preparing to restore to you double everything you lost. Because, chosen one, you have endured enough. You have cried enough. You have fought enough. And now God says, it is time to strike back. It is time to rise in the authority He trained you for. It is time to step into the realm of breakthrough that has been waiting for your arrival. He has given me the most precise and divinely revealed strategies, the framework, the blueprint, the spiritual weapons, the pathway, the set of instructions that will help you overturn this battle starting tonight. And the first thing you must understand is that heaven cannot elevate what you refuse to align, and this is where the divine protocols begin to unfold. Chosen one, because the next season of your life requires strategy, not just hope, precision, not just passion, and spiritual authority, not just survival. God is not moving you randomly. He is moving you deliberately. So hear me with your spirit, not your ears, as I reveal the first 3 foundations he needs you to establish now. The first protocol, the covenant of separation. Before God accelerates destiny, he always removes the noise. Do this immediately. Create spiritual and emotional distance from anything that drains your clarity. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop waiting for validation from circles God has already dissolved. If a person, habit, environment, or routine makes your spirit feel heavy, restricted, or dimmed, step back without apology. This is not cruelty. This is spiritual warfare discipline. Your next assignment requires clean frequencies, not contaminated atmospheres. Each morning, declare out loud, "Lord, remove what is not assigned to my destiny." Watch how the people who were blocking your financial breakthrough, delaying your calling, or feeding your self-doubt begin to fade without confrontation. This separation is not punishment. It is divine alignment. When God says move, the first motion is always away from what kept you small. The second protocol, the discipline of obedient movement. Chosen one, heaven cannot multiply steps you refuse to take. This is where fear has been holding you hostage. So here is the instruction. Every time your spirit says go, act within 24 hours. Apply for the position, even if you feel unqualified. Research the city, even if you're unsure. Pack one box, even if you're not ready to leave. Movement breaks paralysis. Movement destroys generational curses of stagnation. Movement signals to heaven, I am agreeing with my destiny acceleration. Even small motion carries prophetic weight. When your body moves, your atmosphere shifts. When your atmosphere shifts, new provision reveals itself. God does not give clarity to the stagnant. He gives clarity to the obedient. You don't need the whole staircase. You need the next step. And as you take it, divine intervention begins to rearrange what once resisted you. Forces that blocked you will lose authority. Delays will dissolve. Doors will open that logic cannot explain, because obedience is the ignition switch of breakthrough timing. The third protocol, the armor of mental rewriting. You cannot step into a promised land with the mindset of someone who was barely surviving Egypt. Your mind has been trained by fear, betrayal, poverty patterns, and emotional exhaustion. Now you must rewrite it daily. Here's what God needs from you. Create a new internal script. Replace every "what if it goes wrong" with "what if God already prepared the victory?" Replace "I'm not ready" with "He wouldn't call me if I wasn't equipped." Replace "I might fail" with "Heaven is backing my steps." This is not positive thinking. This is reclaiming spiritual authority. Say these truths aloud every day until your nervous system believes them. This mental rewriting breaks the last layer of the generational curse that tried to convince you your future would look like your past. Your thoughts are not decoration, they are blueprints. As you rewrite them, you rewrite the realm around you. Your confidence strengthens, your clarity sharpens, your atmosphere fills with expectancy, and suddenly the path that once looked impossible begins to shift in ways you didn't think were possible. And once the inner script begins to transform, heaven can finally release the next protocols, the ones that activate motion in the invisible realm while you step in the physical. The fourth protocol, the circle of silence. Chosen one. There are battles you keep losing not because you lack faith, but because you keep giving the wrong people front row seats to the construction site of your destiny. Do this now. Pull your plans back into the secret place. Stop announcing your moves before they manifest. Stop sharing divine instructions with people who don't carry divine insight. When Joseph shared his dream too early, jealousy was activated. The same dynamic has been sabotaging your breakthrough timing. You must build a circle so small that only God fits inside it. The moment you speak your next step aloud, the spiritual warfare around you increases, because every unassigned ear becomes a doorway for interference. Protect your blueprint. Guard your divine alignment. Let your fruit speak for you later. And if this resonates deeply, if you've been betrayed by someone you trusted with your dreams, comment this power phrase: "My silence is my shield." Because your silence will break generational curses of sabotage that have followed your family for decades. The fifth protocol, the altar of praise. This one will feel strange, especially when you are exhausted. But hear me, praise is a warfare weapon. When you praise in the middle of pressure, you confuse every spirit assigned to delay you. When Paul and Silas were imprisoned, they didn't negotiate, they didn't beg, they didn't panic, they praised. And the prison shook, doors opened, chains fell. That is not poetry, that is protocol. When the atmosphere around you feels heavy, toxic, or spiritually suffocating, turn on worship immediately. Let your voice rise, even if it trembles. Praise shifts frequencies. Praise clears demonic fog. Praise pierces the veil. Do this. Create a playlist labeled Breakthrough Only. Play it when you're cooking, cleaning, driving, or crying. Every note becomes a spiritual battering ram. Every lyric becomes divine intervention punching through the resistance around your calling. Praise multiplies strength. Praise accelerates destiny. Praise summons angels who war on your behalf. And the moment you start using praise as a strategy rather than a luxury, you will notice the atmosphere in your home beginning to. The sixth protocol, the environment shift. Chosen one, listen carefully. Clutter is spiritual. Mess is spiritual. Disorder is spiritual. A chaotic room creates a chaotic mind, and a chaotic mind cannot receive divine instruction. If God is telling you to move physically or spiritually, the first step is to cleanse the environment you're currently in. This is not cleaning. This is preparation for wealth transfer and elevation. Remove clothes you haven't worn in years. Clear drawers stuffed with forgotten seasons. Throw away anything that carries the scent of your old identity, old relationships, or old pain. As you declutter, speak out loud. I make room for what heaven is sending. You will feel the atmosphere shift immediately. Your spirit will feel lighter. Your thoughts will gain clarity. Divine alignment becomes easier because there is now space for it. This single action breaks the generational curse of hoarding, holding on to things out of fear that nothing better will come. Clearing your physical space signals to heaven, I am ready. And when heaven sees readiness, acceleration always follows. Respond in ways you never imagined, because once the environment begins to shift around you, heaven moves to adjust what is happening inside you and through you. And that is where the next layer of divine strategy unfolds, deeper, sharper, and far more precise. The seventh protocol, the midnight cry. Chosen one. There is a reason you've been waking up between 2 and 4 a.m. That is not insomnia. That is invitation. That is the watchman anointing pulling on your spirit. At that hour, the veil between realms is thinner. Attacks intensify, but so does your authority. When you wake up in the middle of the night with your heart racing or your mind spinning, don't reach for your phone. Don't bury your head under the pillow. Sit up. Place your hand over your chest. Whisper his name. Then turn your tears, your fears, your questions into warfare. Say, God, I give you what I cannot carry. In that moment, angels respond. Chains weaken. Generational curses tremble. This is where spiritual warfare becomes personal. This is where destiny acceleration begins to break through the barriers around you. And if you have ever woken at 3 a.m. and felt the weight of something you could not explain, Comment these words as your confirmation. I rise at midnight, because heaven is training you to fight in hours hell hoped you would sleep through. The eighth protocol, the prophetic decree. There comes a point, beloved, when asking is no longer enough. You have prayed, you have begged, you have cried. Now God is teaching you to command. This is spiritual maturity. This is prophetic instruction. Jesus didn't ask the mountain to move. He spoke to it. You must do the same. Each morning, stand with your feet firmly planted and declare aloud what heaven has already written. My path opens, my provision flows, my destiny aligns now. Your words shape atmosphere, your declarations override generational programming. You must stop speaking from where you are and start speaking from where God is taking you. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Every great move of God in Scripture was activated by a spoken decree. Ezekiel spoke to dry bones. Moses spoke to Pharaoh. Elijah spoke to the sky. Now it is your turn to speak to the barriers blocking your financial breakthrough, your relocation, your clarity. Command them to shift. Command them to release. Command them to obey the God who sent you forward. Something powerful happens when a chosen one finally realizes that silence is no longer spiritual and authority has been sitting in their mouth the whole time. The ninth protocol, spiritual firewalls. Before God enlarges your territory, He strengthens your boundaries. This means one thing. You must begin saying no. No to emotional leeches. No to conversations that drain your energy. No to rescuing people who refuse to grow. No to guilt-based relationships. No to cycles that keep you spiritually bankrupt. Do this immediately. Write down the names of the people who leave you exhausted after every interaction. Then ask God, is this connection covenant or distraction? Whatever He reveals, obey. This is how you install spiritual firewalls around your mind, your purpose, your momentum. When your boundaries rise, your anointing stops leaking, your energy returns, your clarity strengthens, you stop absorbing everyone else's chaos and finally step into divine alignment. The truth is, chosen ones often burn out not because of destiny, but because of access. Too many hands on your spirit, too many voices in your ears, too many people pulling you backward while God is trying to push you forward. Set the firewall. Guard your calling. Protect your peace, because what heaven is preparing to release into your life next can only be carried by someone who has learned to hold what heaven is about to place in their hands. And once those firewalls rise around your spirit, something powerful begins to happen. God starts preparing you not just to defend your destiny, but to expand it. That is why the next protocols shift from protection into activation. The 10th protocol, the protocol of first fruits. Chosen one, listen closely. Your mornings have been under attack because the enemy knows that your first hour sets the tone for your entire destiny trajectory. The moment you wake up, your mind is fragile, porous, spiritually absorbent. If you reach for your phone, for notifications, for noise, you surrender the steering wheel of your day to chaos. But when you give God your first hour before social media, before texts, before scrolling, you align your inner compass with divine instruction. Do this as soon as you open your eyes. Sit at the edge of your bed. Place your hand over your heart. Say, Lord, order my steps today. Then spend a few minutes in silence. Let heaven speak before the world does. This single shift will sharpen your discernment, break old generational curses of confusion, and unlock clarity that has been trapped under mental clutter. If this instruction is igniting something in your spirit, pause and comment the phrase, "My first hour belongs to God." Because the day that begins in His presence cannot be hijacked by spiritual warfare. The 11th protocol. The kingdom audit. You cannot step into wealth transfer while living in financial fog. This is not about restriction. This is about alignment. God is not asking you to become obsessed with money. He is asking you to steward it with spiritual intelligence. Here's the divine instruction. Sit down with your bank statement. Pray before you look at a single line. Then ask, Lord, show me where the leak is. He will. The Holy Spirit will highlight spending you didn't notice, patterns that reflect emotional wounds, and subscriptions tied to old seasons you've already outgrown. Remove what doesn't honor Him. Cancel what drains your flow. Redirect funds toward your future, not your fear. When you take this step, something supernatural shifts. Financial blockage begins to loosen. Debts that haunted you start shrinking. Opportunities appear that were previously invisible. Heaven will not entrust abundance to someone who is spiritually allergic to accountability. The kingdom audit is not punishment. It is preparation for overflow, for stewardship, for financial breakthrough that carries generational impact. The 12th protocol. The forgiveness release. Chosen one, this may be the hardest protocol so far, but hear me with your soul. Unforgiveness is a spiritual chokehold. You cannot walk into a new land carrying the weight of old wounds. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It does not excuse what they did. It does not deny the betrayal. It does not minimize the heartbreak. Forgiveness simply breaks the chain that ties you to the moment of injury. It frees your spirit from prison. Do this gently. Say their name, yes, that name. The one your voice trembles around. Then whisper, I release you. Tears may fall. Anger may rise. Memories may surface. Let them. This is spiritual surgery. God cannot accelerate your destiny while your heart is still bleeding from yesterday's wounds. As you release them, heaven releases you, and suddenly doors that refuse to open begin to unlock. Blessings that were stuck behind emotional walls begin to flow. Your spiritual authority strengthens. Your heart becomes lighter. Your vision clears. Forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is oxygen for you. And once this release happens, heaven moves swiftly too, and this is where many chosen ones stumble, not because they lack revelation, but because they underestimate the power of repetition. Listen to me. You can receive every divine instruction heaven has poured out tonight. But if you treat these protocols like emotional fuel instead of spiritual discipline, the fire will fade. Breakthrough does not come to the inspired. It comes to the consistent. Hell does not fear what you do once. Hell fears what you do daily. And this is why the enemy's greatest weapon against you has never been the attack itself. It has been the silent cooling of your spirit afterward. You know this pattern well. 3 days of fire, then a slow drift back into old habits, old moods, old environments, old cycles. 3 days of clarity, then a week of fog. 3 days of obedience, then a month of delay. Empires collapse not because the architect lacked vision, but because the builders stopped showing up. Your destiny is no different. The strategies given to you are not one-time events. They are spiritual rhythms. Muscle memory for your calling. Daily weapons for daily warfare. If you only use them when you feel strong, you will lose them when you feel weak. But if you commit, if you return every morning, if you keep choosing alignment, even when your emotions are loud and your circumstances are heavy, heaven will meet you with a strength you did not know you carried. And hear this clearly. You are not expected to maintain all of this by human strength. Human willpower burns out fast. Human motivation fades. Human resilience cracks under pressure. But the Holy Spirit, He does not tire. He does not weaken. He does not fluctuate. He does not abandon you on the days you collapse under the weight of your calling. Ask Him to breathe through you. Ask Him to stabilize the places in you that tremble. Ask Him to strengthen what your past tried to break. Ask Him to carry what you cannot carry alone. Consistency is not accomplished through effort. It is accomplished through yielding. Your job is not to be superhuman. Your job is to stay connected to the One who is. And now, here we stand at the threshold. All these weapons have been placed in your hands. Every tool, every instruction, every revelation. But there is one final key that activates them. Without this key, nothing ignites. That key is the sealing prayer. We are about to step into the Holy of Holies. Prepare your heart, because we are entering holy ground now, beloved. So before a single word of this prayer is spoken, I want you to shift your posture. Slowly, gently, with intention. Place one hand over your heart. Let the other rest open, as if you are finally ready to receive what heaven has been trying to give you for years. Close your eyes if you can. Let your shoulders fall. Let your breath deepen. Let the world around you fade until it is only you and God and this sacred moment. Good. Stay right there. Feel the stillness settling over you like a warm mantle. This is the atmosphere where destinies turn. This is the place where instructions become impartation. This is the threshold where old seasons lose their grip and new doors begin to breathe. And now, in this holy hush, we speak to the Lord of hosts, the commander of angelic armies, the one who goes before you when you move, the one who tears down what you could never fight on your own, the one who has been orchestrating your relocation, your breakthrough, your protection, long before you understood the battle you were in. Listen to me. He is here. He is listening. He is leaning close to your spirit right now. So, with reverence, with trembling softness, let us begin. Lord of hosts, we come to you not as strangers, not as beggars, but as children standing inside the very moment you prepared before the foundations of the world. Thank you for every whisper that warned us, for every push that lifted us, for every closed door that protected us from what we could not see. Thank you for being the God who moves us when we are afraid to move ourselves. Thank you for being the God who interrupts cycles, breaks delays, overturns sabotage, and speaks destiny into the places where despair once lived. We acknowledge your nearness now. We feel your breath in the stillness. We sense your armies surrounding the room where we sit. We recognize your authority flowing into the places of our spirit that have been trembling for too long. Lord, you see the heart we are touching with our own hand. You see the pressure we've carried. You see the wounds we've hidden. You see the battles we fought in silence while pretending to be strong. And so, in this sacred seal, we open ourselves fully, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with surrender. We invite you into the corners of us that never learned how to speak, into the places where doubt built walls, into the memories that made movement feel dangerous, into the dangers we never recognized, but you always saw. Lord of hosts, you are the God who commands the winds of transition. You are the God who parts seas when your chosen must walk forward. You are the God who sends angels ahead of our footsteps when the journey demands courage we do not yet feel. So, tonight, we invite your voice to rise above every other voice, your will to rise above every fear, your protection to rise above every attack. Pull us into divine alignment, anchor us in clarity, wrap us in your presence so tightly that no lie, no delay, no spiritual interference can infiltrate what you are sealing now. And as we stand in this holy place, as our spirit slows into reverence, as your presence presses gently but unmistakably upon our chest. Begin to untie the ropes we wrapped around ourselves. Begin to loosen the chains we thought were normal. Begin to whisper into the areas where we stopped hoping. Carry us, Lord. Guide us. Hold us in the palms of your hands. Because the moment we step from this prayer, the moment our feet touch the ground of the next chapter, nothing from the old season will be allowed to follow us. Now, Lord of hosts, breathe upon us, draw near, and continue this sacred work. As we yield to you in this sacred stillness, we seal it now. It is done, it is established, it is sealed in the courts of heaven, not by our strength, not by our striving, but by your word, your will, and your unfailing covenant. So let it be written, so let it be carried out, so let it be sealed. Chosen one, when you are ready, take a slow breath. Open your eyes and step back into the room, knowing something in the unseen has already shifted on your behalf. And hear me gently now. Subscribe to stay connected to this flow so you never miss the next instruction heaven releases for your journey. This isn't about content. It's about staying under a continuous stream of revelation, protection, and divine alignment as God moves you into your next chapter. And if this message touched something deep in your spirit, if you felt the weight of heaven resting on you as the prayer unfolded, then consider this moment a holy turning point, a place where your spirit said yes to destiny. If you feel led, use the super thanks button as your personal stone of remembrance, a symbolic act saying, God, I mark this moment. I agree with the shift you just activated. I honor what you sealed in me tonight. Not a purchase, not a payment. A prophetic gesture placing your stone on the altar of this moment, so heaven remembers your faith and your future keeps unfolding in divine order. Chosen one, you are stepping into the life you were always meant to live. Your steps are ordered. Your path is clearing. Your future is opening. Walk gently. Walk boldly. Walk knowing heaven goes before you. You are moving into destiny, and God is moving with you.